Imagine stepping into the shadowy world of the Kremlin in the 1930s and 1940s. The Soviet Union is a vast empire stretching across continents, locked in ideological war with the West, rebuilding from revolution and civil war, and hurtling toward industrialization at breakneck speed. At its center sits a man who rules with absolute power, Joseph Stalin, the man of steel. To the outside world and through the massive cult of personality he built, he is the infallible leader, the father of the peoples, the genius who defeated fascism. But behind closed doors, in the late-night dacha gatherings, in his personal apartments, and in the quiet paranoia of his mind, Stalin revealed behaviors so unusual, so eccentric, and often so darkly twisted that they paint a portrait of a man whose quirks amplified the terror he inflicted on millions. Let's start with the paranoia that defined his later years. Stalin didn't just suspect enemies, he lived in constant, suffocating fear of them. He slept with a loaded pistol under his pillow every night. He never used the same bedroom twice in a row, shuffling between rooms in his residences like Kuntsevo dacha or the Kremlin apartments. Corridors were redesigned with hidden passages, extra locks, and escape routes only he knew. He refused to travel the same route more than once. Convinced assassins lurked around every corner. His bodyguards, hundreds of them, were themselves under constant surveillance. Even his food was tasted by others, yet he still feared poison. This fear peaked in his final years with the infamous Doctors' Plot of 1952 to 1953. Stalin became convinced that Kremlin doctors, many of them Jewish, were part of a Zionist conspiracy to murder Soviet leaders through deliberate mistreatment. He accused them of poisoning high officials, ordered mass arrests, and planned sweeping purges that could have targeted thousands more. Historians now link this to worsening atherosclerosis in his brain, which may have exaggerated his already deep suspicions into full-blown delusion. But long before that, paranoia shaped everything. He saw plots in innocent conversations, interpreted loyalty as weakness, and trusted almost no one. Yet alongside this terror was a bizarre, almost childlike sadism in his humor. Stalin loved practical jokes, cruel ones. One favorite placing ripe tomatoes on the chairs of Politburo members during meetings or dinners. When they sat down, the tomato would squash with a wet splat, staining suits and dignity alike. Stalin would roar with laughter, slapping his knee as grown men, some of the most powerful in the world, squirmed in embarrassment. Another game, forcing endless toasts and drinking sessions that lasted until dawn. He'd pour vodka for his inner circle men like Khrushchev, Molotov, Beria, while sipping lightly himself, sometimes disguising water as vodka to stay sharp. Guests had to drink shot after shot, often until they slurred, sang foolishly, or passed out. Stalin watched, extracting confessions, humiliations, or simply enjoying the power of reducing giants to stumbling fools. These weren't friendly nights, they were tests of loyalty wrapped in cruelty. Say the wrong thing while drunk, it could cost your life. His personal insecurities ran deep too. Childhood smallpox left his face heavily pockmarked. He avoided close-up photos and used makeup or angles to hide it. A deformed left arm from injury or accident made him self-conscious. He kept it tucked away, wore specially tailored sleeves. At just about 5'4", he wore platform boots to appear taller. He doodled obsessively, often wolves perhaps echoing childhood fears from Georgia's wild mountains. And strangely, this ruthless dictator was a movie fanatic. Late at night he'd screen films, mostly American westerns starring John Wayne, despite official anti-Western propaganda. He'd watch obsessively, critiquing plots, actors, even ordering Soviet filmmakers to imitate Hollywood styles. Family life revealed cold cruelty. His first wife died young, and he claimed it killed his last warm feelings for humanity. His son Yakov attempted suicide in despair. Stalin mocked him. He can't even shoot straight. When Nazis captured Yakov in World War II, Stalin refused any prisoner exchange, letting his son die in a camp. Toward his daughter Svetlana, whom he once called Little Sparrow with affection, he could be tender in childhood but tyrannical later, slapping her for insolence, exiling her lovers, controlling her fiercely. Even his annotations in books were odd and revealing. He'd scrawl insults in margins, scumbag, haha, piss off next to passages he disliked. In one bizarre habit from declassified archives, he doodled crude comments and drawings on reproductions of 19th century nude male sketches by Russian artists, triangles over genitals, crosses on chests, notes like, "You need to work, not wank or idiot. Did you forget what to do?" A mix of juvenile humor and contempt for perceived weakness. Stalin was a night owl to extremes. Government business ran on his schedule, sleeping until noon or later, working into the early hours, summoning ministers at 3 a.m. for meetings. The entire Soviet apparatus bent to this rhythm. Ministers waited bleary-eyed while he read voraciously, claiming 500 pages a day, mixing Marxist theory with detective novels. These weren't harmless eccentricities. They intertwined with the regime's horrors: the Great Purge that killed hundreds of thousands, the Gulags holding millions, engineered famines, show trials. His paranoia justified mass terror. His sadistic jokes normalized humiliation. His insecurities fueled endless suspicion. Yet in private moments, watching cowboy films, laughing at squashed tomatoes, he seemed almost ordinary, a man shaped by poverty, seminary rebellion, revolutionary danger, and absolute power that corrupted absolutely. Joseph Stalin ruled for nearly 30 years, turning the USSR into a superpower while presiding over unimaginable suffering. His unusual behaviors remind us that history's monsters are often deeply human, flawed, insecure, playful in dark ways, yet capable of unimaginable evil when those flaws meet unchecked power. If this glimpse into the bizarre mind behind one of history's most feared leaders gripped you, smash that like button. If you learned something new, drop a comment below. What do you think was Stalin's strangest habit? And if you want more deep, dramatic narrations on history's dark figures, twisted rulers, hidden quirks, and the human side of monsters, subscribe to the channel right now and hit the bell for notifications. We've got more coming, from eccentric emperors to paranoid tyrants and everything in between. Thanks for joining me on this wild ride through the shadows. See you in the next one, History Explorers.